morning again. I'm so happy to have with me today the wonderful volunteers from Fairfax County Access Library. Ken Plumber, who's the manager of outreach, is here, and also Janice Kuch, who used to work with Ken. And so we're all gonna talk about Access Library and the wonderful services that the Fairfax County provides for the residents at Green Spring. Ken, how long have you been coming here to talk to us about this?
I don't know. I'm sure it's 5 or 6 years that I've been coming out, often twice a year, telling people about what Access Services does.
Besides Access Services, though, you also provide books for our Green Spring Library.
That's true.
And I want people to know, though, we are not the Green Spring Library. We offer a service in addition to what is at the library here.
That's correct.
So talk about, for my favorite, let's start out by, well, first of all, tell us how you were eligible to be involved in these services.
Well, the eligibility is if you live in Fairfax County. So we work with people not only here at the Green Spring community, but with from everybody from Lorton all the way up to Reston and all the places in between. If they are unable to comfortably get to a library, maybe the doctor says you shouldn't be driving anymore. Mm-hmm. They can take advantage of a service called the home delivery service. I'll tell people more about that. And if you have or know of somebody who has some vision issues, they can take advantage of a program called the Talking Book Program, and that's a national program that we kind of act as a distributor for. Mm-hmm. And with that, you do need a doctor's certification that you cannot read or hold on to a regularly printed book. And then you get into the program, and I'll tell you about that too as we progress through the interview here today.
Now let's say, first of all, in order to be eligible for all these services, by the way, I understand if you live or work in this county. I remember when Chandra was new here and she was coming from the Riderwood area, we got her a library card because she was eligible because she works in this.
That's correct. You can get a library card if you're a resident, if you own property, or if you work or are a student in the county. You are able to get a Fairfax County library card.
So this is what the library card looks like, and how would I go about getting this if I'm here at Green Spring and haven't used my card? I don't know if it's still valid, or I don't know if I have one.
Sure. You can get one at any library, so if you're able to get out to the libraries around, you can always get one there. You can apply for one online. And
what's the easiest for us here?
Oh, the easiest way is when I come out here and do the library clinics, and we'll give you a library card that day. We'll be able to check to see if the card you got 5 years ago is still active, or if you need another one.
And it's right there. You've got the machine. You're plugged in. You can hand them one of these that very day.
Absolutely.
I like this delivery immediate. I like it. All right, tell us some in detail now about the books in a bag. I love that. That keeps me going. I'm telling you, it has been my salvation more than one time.
Well, the books in a bag, or the home delivery service, is for those folks who have some issue, perhaps a temporary or a permanent issue where they just can't get to the library. Sometimes it's quite a long distance, particularly if you have a walker or a chair from the parking lot into the service desks. Mm-hmm. So the Library Board of Trustees and the Board of Supervisors of Fairfax County have created this program and allowing us to mail library books to people who can't get into the library.
And this is free of charge.
It's free of charge. Thank you for mentioning that.
We tax dollars at work.
Tax dollars at work. We pay postage to you, and then again, the return postage is already paid for. And you can I can put 7 or 6 books in here pretty easily. We can use the large print books that has a little bit bigger font. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people sometimes can read that. Well, of course, it could be the regular font too. It can be DVDs, it can be CDs. Whatever you as a customer would like to read, you are able to get anything that the library has on any of the shelves in any of the 22 branches. We can get for it and send it out to you. Now, if you like the best sellers, as many people do, you would get on a list. We would not guarantee that you would get that book sent to you if there's a waiting list for that particular hold.
And I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Now, demonstrate what you have to do with the card, because
Sure.
one time I forgot to do this important thing.
Well, the card is right here, is a postal card, and it's in this plastic sleeve, and it will have your name and address on the card as it's in there. As you read the books, we do try to ask that the books that come in a single pouch, if it's 6 or whatever, then you put those 6 back, and when you're ready to return them, all you have to do is flip the card over so our address is there, and put it right back into the plastic sleeve. And I think here, all you have to do is take it down to the front
You
desk.
take it to the to the reception desk, because most of the time the bag is too heavy to put in the mail slot.
Okay.
And they will, the mail person will pick them up there. And same thing when they're delivered, when they the books come to you in the bag, the mail person will deliver them to the receptionist, and that person will fill out a form that says you have a package.
Ah, you have a package. So
And then
you're
that
within-
goes in our mail cubby, and when we see that, we go to the desk and we say, aha, I have the blue bag is here with some books for me.
And it can be 1 book every 6 months, if that's the
Yeah.
kind of reader you are, or 6 books every week, like Dr. Sorenson.
Well, one thing that you said about how many books you can put in the bag, in some ways I like to have a few, 3 or 4 at a time, because I read rather rapidly, but then I can't return those until I've read all of them. So I think sometimes we're sitting on books that are in demand, and I have to wait. It would be nicer if I only had a few at a time, and I could send back a few at a time. Either that, or I have to give me an extra bag.
Extra bags, we can send out extra bags plenty of times. That's not a problem. Whatever works for the customer generally works for us. And thank you for thinking of that and thinking that some books might want to be read by other people. That's true.
Now, I like that service a lot, but now there are some other services that people here utilize. As you mentioned, you did book in the bag. You can get regular print or large print, or any of the other things you talked about. Did you bring a CD?
I did bring a CD, sure. CDs, of course, are audio, the 100-foot journey here, and it comes, you have to have your own CD player, but the CDs would come to you, and you would again listen to them and then put them back in the blue bag when you were finished. So
Now that's nice when you're out gardening. You can just play something for yourself.
Absolutely, when you're out gardening, of course.
Tell us now about the next service in line, which is Talking Books.
The Talking Book Program is a national program, as I said before, and this is for, so if you know of somebody in California or Connecticut, you can call us at Access Services, and we can at least get you an 800 number so you can get the process started for them. The Talking Book Program is free again. What happens with the Talking Book Program, it's for those that have vision issues, as I said. So if you cannot read regular print, or if you're reading the newspaper and you get a headache or it's a little dizzy after a few minutes, you would qualify to get the Talking Book Program. The Talking Book Program is a series of, again, recording all sorts of material.
I'm going to take this out of the way for
Okay, that'll be great.
Whoops, all right.
But the Recorded Books Program is, like I say, a national program, and they have professional actors and actors read the entire story of the book, including the book jacket, the information about it. If there's a table of contents, they'll read that straight through. There's not going to be an abridged version. It's going to be the entire story that they'd be able to listen to. It'd be fiction,
Now,
nonfiction.
how do they listen to this? Show me your fancy machine, please.
Show me the machine. Okay, the machine is the digital talking book player.
And it used to be this big, and now look at it. It's like this.
There was a version that was a cassette player that was about twice this big and 3 times as much in weight. This weighs about 2 pounds, and it can be used with a walker. You can. It's very nice. The operating instructions are all right inside the machine. So if I touch any of these buttons,
Demonstrate. Is it loud enough
the
for us
power.
to hear
Let me
it?
turn it on.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining, 29. hours.
Wow, 29 hours?
29 hours. This is one of the great things about the digital player. When we used to have that old cassette player, it held a charge for 2 hours, and we would tell people to just stay in their room and find a cozy spot and listen to their books. With something that works for 31 or 29 hours, you can take this on family vacations with you. It has a plug for a headphone, so you could listen to your stories while you're with your company and things like that.
And then how do you recharge it?
Recharging, there's a electric plug back here in the back, and you
with
just
its
plug
own
that
cord?
in. Its own cord, yep.
Stores
Put
away.
that right in, and you plug that into the wall, and the machine will tell you when it needs to be recharged.
It will.
It will. So you plug it in for about 2 hours, and it should go back to plus 25, plus 29 hours.
Can I have one of those?
Can you have one of those? You sure can qualify. If you can't read regular print, or you can't hold it. Maybe it's a Parkinson's or a arthritis is so severe that you can't physically hold a book anymore. But you would be able, the stories again come on like a flash drive that's been encased in the plastic, and there's only one way to put it into the machine. It won't go in wrong, okay? And so it only goes in the one way, correct way, and then you would be able to hear tone and speed and get that adjusted.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead and do it. Okay, we have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. So.
Sense and Sensibility.
Current position.
Introduction.
Time remaining 15 hours 25 minutes.
Now, if I don't like that voice,
The
what
novel
do I do?
illustrates and examines these qualities.
If you don't like that voice, I don't know if you can do too much about the actual narration itself. You can lower the pitch or make the pitch higher, but I can't change there's not a choice of narrators.
And how do I do that?
As the sisters undergo...
The buttons here are speed and tone. If we hit the tone button, it'll pitch that down slightly or raise it as we go here. So we'll play it again.
Multiple experiences.
Take the tone down.
Tone down.
In the loss of the men they love.
I like that better.
And then
the cult of sensibility.
You can also speed it up with the speed of the narration.
France,
Speed up.
and quickly spread to England. Sensibility implied refined but strong.
No, too fast.
Speed down.
Especially a keen sympathy for others.
Better?
And an ardent appreciation of beauty in art and nature.
Of course, there's volume control.
Volume down.
Underlying it was the belief that intense...
So you can adjust those things, but you
now,
normally...
if you have trouble seeing, how do you know how to do all that?
Well, it's all tactile, so there's a feel to each button.
What is tactile?
Tactile is the button feels differently, like the button to advance in the player will point to the left, to go to...
Oh yeah, oh yes, okay.
All right, so each button has a little bit different feel, and you get used to that. As you can't see, there's a ridge right here, and you'll set the tone and speed with the buttons above this ridge, so you don't usually change those too often once you find the pitch and the speed that you like. But the ones then you will maneuver are the rewind, play stop, fast forward, and the volume, which are up and down, and each of those point to the way that they would go on the cartridge.
Now, I also know that from experience here that caregivers really like to have this available for a spouse because several people have said it saves their sanity, because it is it's a meaningful thing for the person to do and stay occupied, which gives the caregiver a break to do something else. So that, I think, when I heard that, I thought, well, that really is remarkable.
We hear often at the branch that it is a definite way for people to keep in touch when they're losing their sight or having some difficulty with their vision. There's often a sense of loss, understandably, and this helps connect them. Books that are recorded are included, like I say, bestsellers, nonfiction, mysteries, romances. So whatever you would like, you can find the latest one by John Grisham or the latest one about current events and still be connected that way to your environment and to what's going on. So we do hear that is a benefit of the program. Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about being eligible for that. If anybody comes to our meeting, which we're going to have next month, they have to fill out an application form, right?
That's correct. You fill out an application form, and then we try to get an idea of what kind of material you might like, what kind of stories you would like to listen to. And Dr. Sorenson here or Janice Cook will be able to sign that form right there on the spot. So again, as you were talking about earlier about having things right at your fingertips right now, we're able to do that when we come out for the library clinics.
I've even seen people leave with a talking book setup because you had an extra one or something. How did that happen?
Sometimes I bring an extra one and remember that might work, and I've talked it over with our colleagues and we can do that, yeah. Or we've arranged beforehand that the person needs it.
Well, I think you do. You really go out of your way to make things easy for us here, and I know I appreciate that, and I've heard it from other people, they do too. Now, let me just talk to Janice for a minute. Janice, when you were working at the library, what did the two of you do together? What was your relationship there?
Well, one thing we did together was do outreach, like what Ken is doing this morning. We would go out into the community. Anytime we got an invitation for a large crowd or a small one, we were happy to be there to explain these services to people. Because if they don't know about them, they can't take advantage of them. And that's a lost opportunity. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So anytime we were invited, we went. And people were astonished that the county library has this variety of service to people who are not traditional library users for whatever reason. So it was extremely gratifying to put people in touch with a service that they were entitled to as residents and taxpayers but didn't know about.
Right.
And their appreciation was our reward. And there was always appreciation.
And what one thing would you want to tell us, having had that experience? What about here at Green Spring? Anything that stands out in your mind?
Well, many people who come to Green Spring don't think about what else they might want to take advantage of, because there is so much here at Green Spring on offer to residents, but there is more. And one of those things is public library service, either at Richard Byrd, which is close by on Commerce Street, or if that's not possible, as Ken has explained, the public library can come to you and really wants to.
I think that's important to hear. That I feel sometimes like I'm taking advantage. I feel guilty that I'm asking you for all these things, but you're saying you really want to do this.
Absolutely. Our mission is to reach out to people and make sure that they can take books with them wherever they go, because you can travel through books to places beyond Green Spring.
That is so true. That is so true. Now you're a new member of our team here. I want to make sure that everybody knows that you are not only a new member of our team here at Green Spring, but you come with this wonderful background, this knowledge of how this whole system works and what the various options are. One of the options that we have is the e-books or the tablets. Can you tell us something about that now? Because you're going to be our expert about tablets.
Well, let me say first of all that no one should assume that this is too daunting or too complicated. It does require a little bit of explanation to begin to use e-books, but again, it's part of the free public library service that we absolutely want people here at Green Spring to know about, and if they wish, to take advantage of. And it's another way to have books come to you by means of your tablet or your smartphone, and to enable you to take books with you on campus, in the car when you're traveling with family, wherever you go, you can take books with you. And when Ken comes to Green Spring, he also brings a colleague with him usually, or one of us assists, to enable people to get an explanation personalized for them, one-on-one. You bring your device, whether it's a Kindle or a Nook or an iPad or an Android tablet, whatever you have, bring it with you, and we'll explain how the service works and set it up for you. So
there's a special app that you can help people
yes.
utilize.
Yes, and I hope people don't find that word off-putting. Some people think, oh no, this is bound to be complicated.
Yes, right.
It really isn't, but we're happy to tailor the service and the explanation to you personally.
Now, the one way to get started is to come to our next meeting, which is going to be a month from today. But you also had some, time goes by quickly. We have an hour and a half, and that does go by quickly. And you had some other ideas about how we might have more service for ebook users.
That's right. The local branch of the public library, Richard Byrd, over on Commerce Street, is willing to send one of their staff people to kind of supplement Ken's visits. And so we're exploring that to have perhaps more visits here at Green Spring, because we're hoping to widen the circle of users as much as we can. So that's in the future.
Well, we might even set up something where people sign up, because you can get it. You can be introduced to the system in a few minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. But to really get to understand it, it takes a half hour or more, and that's hard to provide at our regular get-togethers. But I'm encouraged that you are going to be looking at that sort of thing. So people, again, stay tuned and watch the scroll and watch the bulletin board. Janice has some ideas, so it's going to be fun to do that. So let me just switch with you and talk a little bit about one of my favorite things, which is Wowbrary. I happen to well, you backtrack. You can also help people get on the library, contact the library and have it on their iPads. I have my on my computer. I just push the button. You know, there's library, and I get all my history with the library is there. And it starts out by telling me, the Fairfax County Library to log in, and I do, because I put in my ID number and my card number. And then it tells me on that screen what my action summaries. For example, what my checkouts are, what my previous checkouts were, what my holds are, and what my requests have been. And it tells me, for example, now I have 4 checkouts. Some of them may be on the way, but they're already. And I previously have read, in the last few years, 417 of their books, and how many holds I have. Well, now here I'm going to, I know people can't read this, but I just want to make them conscious about the kinds of things that happen. This is the way my screen looks about my account. And so it does show me here that I have all these books on hold, and some of them from 2 to 3, I'm 2 or 3 in the list, or down here I'm 195 in the list. But that isn't too daunting, because some of the best popular authors, for example, Louise Penny, which is my very favorite people, they tells you the details here if you want to look at the details. This is Louise Penny. I'm number 52 here. Well, I thought, oh, gee, will that be a long time? But I looked at the details. They've ordered 55 of her books. So that means when they come in, I'll be one of the first ones to be able to read it, which is, and I'm able to do this through my computer, and you can adjust this list, you can delete it, or you can tell them I'm going to be gone, so you don't want to be active for a while. You can do all of this at home by yourself without talking to anybody. Otherwise, you call Ken. It's nice to talk to Ken,
Absolutely.
But he's very busy too.
I'm glad to have a phone call and answer questions.
Yes,
That's
you
what we
are.
yeah.
But sometimes you just can do this, and in order to get all these names on my list, what I do is I go to Wowbrary, which is WOWBRARARY, whatever, Wowbrary. And I would like to tell people a little bit about Wildberry because I didn't know. I thought this was a Fairfax County system. It isn't. It's a project of Interactive Scientists Incorporated in California, a not-for-profit, and their goal is they're a corporation that uses technology to help with social needs. And for example, Wildberry is the first of these innovations to be released for general use. And as a library fan, I can tell you it's really great to be able to look at Wildberry and utilize it. Now, it's a system that various counties may sign up for, and I don't know how expensive it is, but it certainly is worth every penny you pay for it. And Fairfax County is a member of this Wildberry service. And this informs you on your computer by your email about the latest books your library is getting, and the movies and the music and whatever it is, magazines. And this service is also sponsored by grants, donations, book sales, commissions, and so it is a 501c3 service, Wildberry. But it has, for me, opened up a lot of possibilities. So if you come to our program, our meeting, we will give you the instructions of how to access Wildberry, because every Saturday morning at about 6 a.m. there's an email I get. Well, I'm not up at that time, but anyhow, and it will tell on that email. You will be given 20 popular things that you might be interested in, including magazines, books, or whatever. But on the side of that same email, you can push the category of books you're interested in, and they will tell you every one that the library has added that week. And you go through the list with the summaries, and that's where I say, it says hold, I say hold, and that's how I generate that long list of things that I'm interested in. So I'm just saying that, again, we need people to come and visit us. Any last words that you have? Ken, thank you again for being our guest. What do you want to tell people about when we see them next?
A couple of things. If you have any questions, you can always come next month to the library clinic. That will be a place where you can talk to us and have your questions answered face to face. But you can also call any of the libraries, as they have done for ever. They answer questions, whatever those questions may be. They'll try to give you the best answer they can, whether it's a reference thing or what's the latest book by Grisham or James Patterson. How many books has he written this week? You know, we'll be able to tell you those kind of questions. And again, that would be available through your local library and the telephone number.
I forgot to ask you, when we sign up for this service, you are appointed a mentor?
Sure, yes.
And so you have somebody that you talk to regularly. It's the person
we
that
have
gets
reader advisors, and the reader advisors will be glad to, if you've read all the books by Nora Roberts, then you are able to, we can find some other read-alikes, maybe some other authors that write in a similar vein or about a similar situation, maybe even a similar geographic location. So we're able to do that, and we're glad to do it.
Good. And Janice, what last words do you have for us today?
Take advantage of what the public library has to offer, because it's a free service and it can really expand your world. Even though there's much to do and much on offer here at Green Spring, take advantage of this service as well.
And when I first came, I wasn't interested in it, but now it saves my life. So be aware that we're around. This is a service. Come and see us at our next meeting, which, as you can see here, is Access Library Resource Clinic, Wednesday, July 25th, 1 to 2:30 in the Hunters Crossing classroom. Watch for these reminders in the middle of next month, because they'll be on the bulletin boards and on Channel 6. And until that time, I'll thank you for coming.